Have you ever noticed that women often seem to go gray faster than men, even when they are the same age, living in the same home, eating similar foods, and sharing the same environment? It's a curious and sometimes frustrating reality that has sparked countless conversations in front of mirrors, at salons, and even at family gatherings. Some may joke about it, others may try to hide it with color, and many quietly wonder, why me and not him? Is it simply a cruel twist of genetics? Is it just stress? Or is there something more profound going on beneath the surface of your scalp? Imagine two people, a man and a woman, both in their early 40s. The man still has his dark, rich hair with just a hint of gray at the temples, while the woman begins to notice streaks of silver weaving their way across her head. She may feel like she's aging faster, when in fact what's happening is not just cosmetic. It's a biological story unfolding at the cellular level. And this story isn't random. It's guided by powerful forces inside the body: hormones, stress, nutrition, and even the way our bodies react to the wear and tear of everyday life. What makes this so fascinating is that hair is one of the few parts of the human body where we can visibly see the effects of aging play out in real time. Wrinkles take years to form, bones weaken silently, but hair tells the truth almost instantly. One morning you wake up and there it is, a single gray strand glistening against the rest, and over time those strands multiply, forming a visible reminder that time is moving forward. But for women, that reminder often comes earlier and faster, and understanding why is both empowering and eye-opening. The secret begins in tiny cells called melanocytes. These are the pigment factories of your hair, the ones responsible for producing the rich browns, blacks, blondes, and reds that define your natural shade. Over time, these factories grow tired and slow down, eventually shutting off altogether. But here's where the mystery deepens. Why do these pigment cells shut down faster for women than for men? The answer, as science reveals, is not just one factor, but a symphony of influences. Hormonal shifts, particularly those connected to a woman's life stages, play a starring role. Stress hormones coursing through the bloodstream add fuel to the fire, and deficiencies in certain nutrients can accelerate the decline of those pigment-producing cells. Even environmental exposures and lifestyle habits can tip the balance, and while genes set the baseline, your everyday choices can speed up or slow down the process. The more you learn about this, the more you realize that gray hair is not just about vanity or appearance. It's a signal, an early indicator of what's happening inside the body, a reflection of deeper biological processes. And by understanding the truth behind why women gray faster, you gain more than just answers about your hair. You gain insight into your overall health and aging journey. Welcome back, and today I want to take you on a journey into one of the most overlooked yet deeply personal signs of aging: why women often see gray hair sooner than men, and what that really means for health and vitality. For many, gray hair feels like it arrives overnight, like a thief in the dark, stealing away the familiar color that once defined them. But in truth, it is not sudden at all. It is the outcome of years of changes building quietly beneath the surface, shaping the way we age strand by strand. And while many people rush to cover it, hide it, or simply accept it as fate, the reality is that the graying process carries important clues that speak volumes about what is happening inside the body. Think of your hair as a timeline of your inner biology. Each strand reflects the choices you've made, the stresses you've carried, the nourishment you've given yourself, and even the rhythms of your hormones. For women, that timeline seems to move faster, and it's not a coincidence. Aging does not unfold in the same way for men and women, and nowhere is that more visible than in the color of your hair. This isn't just about appearance, it's about understanding why your body behaves the way it does, and how much of that is within your control. As you begin to explore this, it helps to realize that your hair is not just a cosmetic feature, it's alive. At the root of every strand is a follicle, and inside that follicle are pigment-producing cells that give your hair its unique color. When you see gray, it means those cells are no longer working at their full potential. Now here's the key. While the biology of hair pigment applies to everyone, women experience unique pressures that accelerate this natural process. Hormonal changes, especially during transitions like perimenopause and menopause, affect hair follicles in ways men simply don't experience. Stress, which we often dismiss as emotional, actually creates a chemical ripple through the body that impacts these pigment cells directly. And diet, which so often varies between women and men, can either protect those cells or leave them more vulnerable. The beauty of understanding this is that it shifts the perspective. Instead of looking in the mirror and seeing gray hair as a symbol of decline, you can start to see it as a message. Your body is speaking through your hair, revealing what's happening beneath the surface, sometimes years before other symptoms show up. It is an invitation to pay closer attention, to ask, what is my body telling me? And this is where it becomes powerful, because once you recognize the patterns, you also begin to recognize the opportunities. What makes this topic so compelling is that while the tendency to gray earlier may feel unfair, it also opens the door to knowledge and action. By learning why this happens and how it connects to deeper aspects of health, you can start making choices that not only influence your hair but also improve your energy, resilience, and overall well-being. This isn't about chasing youth, it's about embracing the tools that help you thrive at every stage of life. To truly understand why hair turns gray, we need to look deeper than the mirror and focus on what is happening at the smallest, most intimate level of the human body, the cells. Every strand of hair grows from a follicle, and nestled inside that follicle are specialized cells called melanocytes. These melanocytes are like tiny artists, producing pigments known as melanin. It is melanin that determines whether your hair is black, brown, blonde, or red. And as long as melanocytes are active and healthy, your hair continues to show its natural color. But with time, these pigment cells begin to falter, their production slows, and eventually the color fades. When melanin is no longer produced, hair emerges gray, silver, or white. This process of graying may sound simple, but it is actually influenced by a delicate interplay of biology, environment, and lifestyle. Melanocytes rely on a steady stream of nutrients, oxygen, and signals from surrounding cells to keep producing pigment. Think of it as a factory that needs constant supplies to stay in operation. As the body ages, several factors begin to interfere with this supply chain. One of the biggest culprits is oxidative stress. Just as oxygen can cause metal to rust, it can also damage the delicate machinery of melanocytes. Free radicals, unstable molecules produced through metabolism, pollution, or even stress, chip away at these cells, weakening their ability to function. Over time, the damage accumulates, and pigment production drops. But oxidative stress is only one piece of the puzzle. Hair follicles also depend on stem cells that replenish melanocytes when old ones wear out. In youth, this system is efficient. Damaged melanocytes are quickly replaced by new ones, keeping hair vibrant. With age, however, these stem cells themselves begin to decline in number and effectiveness. Imagine a workforce where fewer and fewer employees show up for the job. The result is patches of pigment loss, leading to gray strands that multiply year after year. Another factor is the role of enzymes. Inside melanocytes, an enzyme called tyrosinase helps kickstart melanin production. Over time, levels of this enzyme can decrease, slowing the process down. Without enough tyrosinase, melanocytes simply cannot keep up with the demand, and hair begins to lose its color. Interestingly, studies have shown that hydrogen peroxide, a compound produced naturally in hair follicles, builds up as we age. In youth, the body has enough of an enzyme called catalase to break down hydrogen peroxide. But with age, catalase levels drop, allowing hydrogen peroxide to accumulate and literally bleach hair from the inside out. What makes this even more fascinating is how external and internal factors can speed up or slow down these processes. Smoking, for example, introduces more free radicals, accelerating melanocyte damage. Poor nutrition can deprive cells of the vitamins and minerals they need to function, while chronic stress floods the body with cortisol, which disrupts normal cellular activity. Meanwhile, protective factors like antioxidants from fruits and vegetables or consistent rest and recovery can help preserve melanocyte health for longer. So, when you see gray hair, it is not simply a random sign of aging. It is a visible marker of what is happening at the cellular level, a story of melanocytes battling oxidative stress, stem cells losing their resilience, and enzymes struggling to maintain balance. Each strand of gray tells you something about the inner workings of your biology. And by understanding this story, you begin to see that gray hair is not just about time passing, but about the health of your cells and the environment they live in. When we begin comparing the graying process in men and women, it becomes clear that biology does not treat both genders the same way. While the root cause of graying lies in the loss of pigment producing melanocytes, the pace and intensity of that loss are influenced by forces that are uniquely different in women. The most powerful of these forces is hormones. Estrogen, a hormone that not only influences reproduction but also protects skin, bones, and hair, plays a vital role in maintaining healthy follicles. Estrogen helps support blood flow to the scalp, nourishes melanocytes, and indirectly shields them from stress-related damage. But as women enter their late 30s and 40s, estrogen levels begin to decline. The sharpest drop happens around menopause, and with it comes a cascade of changes. Hair may thin, texture may shift, and color loss accelerates. Men, by contrast, experience a gradual decline in testosterone, but it does not affect hair pigmentation in the same dramatic way. This hormonal imbalance is one of the central reasons women notice gray hair sooner and more extensively. Stress adds another layer to this difference. While men and women both experience stress, women are often more exposed to chronic, layered stressors, balancing work, family, caregiving, and social expectations. Stress is not just an emotional burden, it is a biological disruptor. Cortisol, the primary stress hormone, can interfere with the normal function of melanocyte stem cells, pushing them to exhaustion. Once these stem cells are depleted, the follicle has no ability to produce new pigment cells, leading to permanent graying. Research has even shown that moments of high emotional stress can trigger sudden bursts of gray, a phenomenon far more commonly reported in women than in men. Nutrition is another dividing line. Women are more prone to deficiencies in iron, vitamin B12, vitamin D, and folate. These nutrients are critical for maintaining healthy red blood cells, proper oxygen delivery, and DNA repair, all of which directly affect the health of hair follicles and melanocytes. Iron deficiency, for example, is one of the most common nutritional problems in women due to menstruation and dietary differences. Without enough iron, oxygen supply to the scalp weakens, starving follicles of what they need most. Men, on the other hand, are less likely to face chronic iron or B12 shortages, giving their hair pigment a slightly longer lifespan. Genetics, of course, weave their influence into the story, but even here, sex differences emerge. A family history of premature graying is often more pronounced in women, with maternal lineage playing a strong role. If a mother or grandmother grayed early, chances are higher that the daughter will too. And yet, while genetics set the stage, lifestyle and environmental factors determine how quickly the play unfolds. When you combine hormonal shifts, heightened stress sensitivity, and nutritional vulnerabilities, you begin to see why women are more likely to find themselves confronting gray hair earlier than their male counterparts. Every strand of silver becomes not only a reflection of time, but also of unique biological rhythms and life circumstances that men simply do not face in the same way. Beyond biology and hormones, the way we live each day profoundly shapes how quickly gray hair arrives. Lifestyle and nutrition are not just background influences, they are powerful accelerators or protectors of the pigment producing cells that define hair color. Think of your daily choices as signals. Each meal you eat, each stress you carry, each habit you repeat either nourishes melanocytes or places them under greater strain. This is why two women of the same age, even with similar genetics, can show dramatically different patterns of graying. It is not only about the body you inherit, but also about how you care for it. One of the most damaging lifestyle factors linked to premature graying is smoking. Cigarettes flood the body with toxins and free radicals that directly harm melanocytes and reduce blood flow to the scalp. Studies have consistently shown that smokers are more likely to develop gray hair earlier than non-smokers, sometimes by a decade. The chemicals in smoke disrupt oxygen delivery, compromise stem cell renewal, and accelerate oxidative stress. For women who may already be navigating hormonal changes that weaken follicle resilience, this creates a double burden. Quitting smoking doesn't just benefit the lungs and heart, It literally helps preserve the life of the hair's natural color. Stress is another lifestyle factor that often takes center stage. Chronic stress keeps cortisol elevated, and prolonged exposure to high cortisol levels interferes with the function of melanocyte stem cells. This is not simply an emotional toll, it is a biological one. Stress reduces the body's antioxidant defenses, making cells more vulnerable to damage, while also triggering inflammation that weakens follicles. For women balancing careers, families, and societal pressures, the toll of stress can be relentless. Even though men experience stress too, research suggests that women's stress responses may be more closely tied to visible aging markers like graying hair. Practices like mindfulness, deep breathing, and restorative sleep may seem simple, but they directly support the systems that protect hair color. Nutrition plays an equally critical role, acting as the fuel for the pigment factories inside each follicle. A diet low in essential vitamins and minerals leaves melanocytes undernourished and unable to produce melanin efficiently. Iron, for example, is vital for oxygen transport to the scalp, while vitamin B12 supports DNA synthesis and energy production in cells. Without these nutrients, pigment production falters. Vitamin D, often called the sunshine vitamin, also plays a key role in hair health by supporting follicle function and reducing inflammation. Women, especially as they age, are more prone to deficiencies in these nutrients due to hormonal shifts, dietary restrictions, or simply less efficient absorption. On the other hand, diets rich in antioxidants can help defend melanocytes against oxidative stress. Foods like berries, leafy greens, green tea, and tomatoes are loaded with compounds that neutralize free radicals before they can harm pigment cells. Omega-3 fatty acids found in salmon, walnuts, and flax seeds provide anti-inflammatory support, creating a healthier environment for hair follicles to thrive. Even hydration matters. Adequate water intake ensures that nutrients are delivered efficiently to the scalp. Environmental exposures also tie into lifestyle. Excessive sun exposure, for instance, can damage both the hair shaft and the follicle, accelerating pigment loss. Air pollution contributes to oxidative stress in the scalp, adding another invisible layer of strain. These are everyday realities that many people overlook, yet they can quietly determine how soon gray hairs appear. Altogether, lifestyle and nutrition weave a powerful story around the biology of graying. They can act as accelerators, pushing pigment loss faster, or as protectors, helping extend the life of natural hair color. While some aspects of graying are inevitable, the way we eat, rest, manage stress, and care for ourselves shapes the pace of this process more than most people realize. Knowing the science behind graying is powerful, but knowledge only becomes truly transformative when it's put into practice. The encouraging truth is that while no one can stop time, there are daily choices you can make that support healthier follicles, protect pigment-producing cells, and slow down the visible march of gray. These are not extreme interventions or complicated routines. They are small, practical steps rooted in science that can be woven naturally into your lifestyle.